What is up, lads and lasses? And today we discuss a new feature or mode that EA can introduce to the next iteration of UFC games, or a better developer. EA is known for delivering amazing sports games, and one of the standout modes across their franchises is Pro Clubs in EAFC. In Pro Clubs, players can create their own character and join a team, working together to achieve success in the virtual football world. It's a mode where teamwork, strategy, and individual skill really shine. And guess what? EA UFC, also developed by EA, has a huge opportunity to introduce something similar, but with an MMA twist. What if UFC had a mode where you can fight as a team, with your friends playing pivotal roles as your cornermen? Obviously, we all enjoy EA UFC. It's individual sport, but sometimes when playing multiplayer, you might feel like something is missing. Sometimes it gets a little lonely, and you want to play with your homies, but there is no real way to play together. Well, that's where EA UFC team mode or something comes in. Think about it. The way that it works is your friends play a role as your cornermen. You have a team, and during the fight, they can provide real-time support, advice, and even healing as you take on competition. This would be a game changer for multiplayer in UFC, especially with the team dynamic, the tournament progression, and whatnot. So for like the cornerman mode, imagine your cornermen are just shouting from the sidelines, depending on where they're positioned around the cage. Which obviously in UFC fights, sometimes they're like two sides of the cage that they're placed at. There's proximity chat, and you'll hear their voices louder or softer, just like how Pro Clubs has like that dynamic interaction. This will add like an extra layer of immersion. We're not only hearing your team's advice, but feeling the pressure of their support as you fight, and the pressure of the other corner yelling at you and trying to support their teammate. This can also segue into some mini games. Mini games that like during the fight, um, maybe they give you like some kind of stamina boost when you're on your side. When you bring them to your corner, you get some stamina boost. Maybe your combos work a little faster depending on your fighter archetype. Maybe your grappling gets a little better. Your submission execution is a bit faster. And obviously, it's not just a it's not just one parameter that you have to fulfill for that. If you bring like a fighter closer to your corner and you're a grappling archetype, maybe the cornermen have to execute a set of buttons to ensure that your grappling somehow speeds up, right? So this will give like incentive to take people to the corner and whatnot, adding a new dynamic element to the game. Another thing is, between rounds, the cornerman can engage in minigames to help heal injuries or prevent stoppages. These are not random activities, they affect your fighter's performance, and if your cornermen do well, you'll enter the next round with fewer injuries and more stamina. If they don't, you might struggle in the next round. So imagine each cornerman has like a role. One guy is specifically like the cut man. One guy has ice that he places on your shins or your injured limbs. And then obviously one guy is gonna be talking to you, giving you strategies. You know how like in UFC fights we'll be watching, and uh, they'll have like those hot mics, and their corner man will be telling them what strategies to invoke. And then maybe even as like a side element, depending on some sort of like corner man based progression, you can have one guy who is able to sort of listen to the other corner, in a sneaky way. So that would be like a lot of fun. That would add huge elements to the game. Now, obviously, there's going to have to be both team and character progression. This should be similar to online career mode, but like a much better version, where you're developing your character from scratch. You start off with just like a basic guy. You choose some kind of fighter archetype, grappler or a striker, judo base, jiu-jitsu base, wrestling base, Muay Thai base, boxing base, and obviously these bases have to have very specific fighter like animations and whatnot to really represent the type of fighter you've selected. And then certain skill trees can be maxed out, or if I started with like for example a judo skill tree, then my trips are like really good. And as you play, as you progress, you level up, and maybe even like this one's not really good. This opens the door for monetization, but you can unlock gear, you can unlock gloves, unlock maybe custom shorts if you get like at a really high level and whatnot. And then for the team should have like some kind of a really cool feature that I was thinking about, right? Is as a team, sometimes teams develop certain strategies in their fights. So, based on the type of training that the team has, maybe when you go into the fight, you have a better grappling, or you get like a grappling boost or a striking boost based on what type of training you guys do, like during sparring. There definitely should be like sparring sessions in the game, and then some sort of like team progression too, where you're progressing like the division that you're fighting in, and then also like weight classes and championships and whatnot. You want to bring all your teammates to different championships. Potentially, each teammate fights in a different weight class, or maybe they even fight in the same weight class and they eventually fight each other, which is not something you really want to do, but it happens in real life. One really cool feature that I was thinking about is that imagine you have a certain combo that you really like to execute. Like for me, one of my favorite combos is the overhand to the double leg takedown, right? Because you throw the overhand, they don't expect it, hit the double leg takedown, or kind of vice versa, where you fake the double leg takedown and then you hit the overhand, right? A really cool that can be, for example, known as like practiced combo or something, right? Because you practice that combo so much, and you should only have like maybe two or three, because then if you have like more than that, then a player can get like potentially too OP, or maybe not because it takes a lot of skill to memorize a combo. But if there's a certain like combo that you practice, then maybe your cornermen or teammates can like execute a set of buttons that when you hit that combo, you hit it at like two or three times speed, or two or three time power, or two or three time negative stamina taken, something like that. So a very specific combo based team based mini game, that would like really add a cool new element to the game itself, and then that's something you have to watch out for the rest of the fight. Now, another thing that I was thinking is obviously, yeah, you have team-based strategy and tactics. Before the fight, your cornerman can discuss tactics. Maybe you want to go all in on striking. Maybe you want to go fight to the ground. I think that each fighter should have like some sort of highlight tape that's developed as you play, and maybe a minute before the game starts or 2 minutes before the fight starts, you watch that like 30-second highlight tape, and then you and your cornerman like try to develop some sort of game plan. That would be absolutely amazing. And then obviously during the fight, your cornermen aren't just passive observers. They're gonna actively be giving you advice in how to adjust your strategy and whatnot. Obviously, we've spoken about online leagues. You have to get up to the championship, and maybe like the more belts that your team has, the higher the prestige, or the higher like something obviously has to progress. Like some sort of metric needs to progress as your team gets more belts and whatnot. Maybe there's like a money based system where you can buy like a better gym that allows you to like the combos that I was mentioning, the combo practice. Potentially based on the type of gym you have, you're only allowed to have one combo, right? One set of combos. Or if you have like a really really nice gym, maybe you can max it up to five combos. Or even like sparring sessions, you're only allowed to do like one or two sparring sessions based on the gym that you have, and your team has to like kind of progress and try to be the best that they can be. Obviously, one teammate needs to be assigned as the coach to administrate all that stuff, administrate who comes into the gym and who comes into the team, and the practices and whatnot. And yeah, I really think that that would make for an absolutely fabulous and fantastic game. Obviously, to expand on that idea, you can even have like the something that I don't think I've seen anywhere is the idea of online promotions, right? the better that your team is, the better reputation you have, and the better that your fighters are, like the better the promotion you can get into, and that also like obviously translates into fighting higher competition and fighting for higher awards and more prestige. So something to think about. I think that these games definitely could use a bit of improvement. Obviously, this idea can be a lot more fleshed out, and I can talk to the technical details. I feel like the technical details, I don't feel like it's really that difficult. Think about it. How would this be developed technically into the game, right? You already have the ability to have online players in a session, right? All you gotta do is add three more idle players, add voice chat, which they've already have, and then maybe like a set of like combos, right? When those buttons are invoked, you just use like the slider to boost like the stamina or the speed or whatever, right? So so I don't think it would be too difficult of a implementation. Like you just add some character models for the cornermen. The fight model has to be dynamic so that they can react to actions from cornermen like healing, stamina boost, etc. It has to have a player input system that it would listen to. Team communication is just proximity based voice chat, which I mentioned before. Role specific abilities. That's just like each player has the like for example, there's a healing guy, stamina boost guy, just a coach. Mini game system, new UI for like the mini games and whatnot. So I feel like it's not that hard. Here's the thing though. Let's be realistic. EA is not gonna do this. UFC 6 is a make or break game for them, and I think it's gonna be a break. I do not foresee much of a change from UFC 6 to UFC 5 because think about this. UFC 5 and UFC 4 are really bad. UFC 5 is actually a game more stripped of features than UFC 4 was. UFC 5 has less fight animations than UFC 4 did, and UFC 4 was already stripped to the bone at that. Like, for example, there's like this spinning kick, right? That obviously you have one where it's like more of a roundhouse spinning kick, and then you have one where it's more of a like direct straight line spinning kick, right? That's not there in UFC 5 anymore. Submissions, there's like 6 or 7 submissions at most. I like the new submission minigame they brought in, one of my favorite features. But there is a huge lack of variety in the actual fight moves. And that in turn becomes a huge lack in fighter type variety, right? A boxer, a Muay Thai fighter, MMA based fighter strikes the same exact way that any other fighter does. The only time that there's like interesting or different animations are like for guys like MVP, for example. They specifically gave him his weird like flashy flary moves, right? But like a guy like Stephen Thompson should not fight exactly the same as like Bilal Muhammad, right? Stephen Thompson had he's a karate fighter. Bilal Muhammad is like more of a brawler, right? All type MMA brawler. Same thing with the grappling, right? Judo fighters should have a lot more trips and throws. Wrestlers should be able to go for a double leg takedown insanely fast, and a jiu-jitsu fighter should have a lot more transitions and submissions. And obviously, as you develop your custom character, you have like these archetypes and these skill trees where you kind of it's mixed martial arts, right? So you're gonna have a mixed variety of those skills, right? But not everyone should look the same. Not every fighter should fight the same. This is less about the online multiplayer mode, this and new, and just more of like my nitpickings of the current UFC product. So, but like everything I'm talking about right now encapsulates just one problem with the current UFC product that would take at least 2 to 3 years to fix. They gotta go scan new animations. Actually, what am I saying? 2 to 3 years? No, 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 no. Hold on, hold on. My bad, my bad. This is like 6 to 12 month fix at most. I'm gonna be real with you, because it's literally just scan new animations and then map them to inputs and map them to like fighter archetypes and whatnot. It's actually not that hard. My bad, my bad. I totally just lied like 5 minutes ago and almost gave the EA lazy, fraudulent developers an excuse as to why they have such a basic, generic game. No, that's a 6 to 12 month fix at most. All right. And honestly, that's just the biggest complaint. That's like the biggest thing that people are complaining about is that every fighter is pretty much the same. The other things are obviously a little more detailed, like the weird footwork that they have. One thing I don't get is a lot of people complain about how fighters shouldn't be able to move while they like punch or strike or whatnot, which I don't really get that because you can obviously move forward as you strike. Maybe they mean like specific striking animations you can't do while you're moving forward. That would make sense. But like throwing like a jab and a hook and a cross and uppercut, while it might not be as efficient as throwing it while you're standing still, you can definitely move forward and backward while throwing punches and kicks and whatnot. I think the other like nitpick that a lot of people have is I'm kind of drawing blanks here, but yeah, I think those are just the two main things really. I'd say like one for me personally because I like the grappling based fighting is there are like UFC Undisputed 3, which everyone always brings that up. It's crazy to me that like a 20-year-old game built by THQ, which rest in peace THQ, they never should have died. Greatest game developers ever. Um, had so many more animations and so many more grappling opportunities that UFC 4, 5, 3, 2 are all missing. So, yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you all very much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you all think of this video format and these ideas that I presented today, and sign a petition for me to become the lead game designer and developer at EA UFC. And I promise you, within 6 months, I will develop a better game than these guys have in the last 6 years. I promise you that. All right, peace.
Good straight hand there by Poirier. He's got to throw that kick behind those punches.
Dude getting active, lands another combination.
Oh, how about the accuracy to land right there? His opponent's wobble chin.
He's hurt bad. He cannot take another shot.
Big left hand.
What? 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 What?